Welcome to the latest in the Ringer's always going, never stopping NBA draft coverage presented by State Farm. My name is Chris Ryan. I'm here with Kevin O'Connor and Danny Chau, and the reason we have gathered today is because of gossip and trade rumors and all the little news and notes that don't fit inside of a mock draft. But Kevin, we're starting to hear some of these little tidbits of information coming out, and we thought it would be good to get it out to our audience. The big thing that you're hearing right now and that everybody's talking about is this idea that the Kings could be open to trading down out of the number 2 pick.
There's certainly a lot of noise that teams are trying to trade up into the 2, 3, 4 range after Phoenix at 1, where they're likely to take DeAndre Ayton.
Right.
And it seems like the team there's the most noise about trying to trade out of that spot is Sacramento. And the reason why is because they were really high on Michael Porter, a forward out of Missouri prior to the draft lottery. And now they're in a spot where it seems a little bit too high to get Porter. So whether it's him or Marvin Bagley, who they worked out this weekend, maybe you can get that same player at a lower range and get more draft equity to use either this year or in the near future.
Are the Kings looking a gift horse in the mouth here? Should they not overthink this and just take LUKA?
I am predisposed to say yes.
Yeah.
I think they should absolutely go with the guy who has done everything at the second highest level of basketball compared to a lot of these guys who are playing organized basketball at a high level for the first time in their
lives.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So the Kings aren't really averse to making these types of risks.
Yeah.
You know, last year they got Harry Giles, who's come back from myriad knee injuries. They've drafted Georgios Papagiannis. 13th pick in 2016. You know, they like who they like and they go for it. So you gotta at least respect
Well, it's
their
worked out great for them so far, so I don't know why we would doubt the Kings front office. Who are some teams that are getting drunk on LUKA, that are getting into Jaren Jackson, that you think could maybe make a move on the 2, 3, and 4 spot?
That's the interesting thing. It's kind of an unknown right now. It seems to me that almost anybody would be open to moving into one of those spots because of the types of players LUKA, DONCIC, and Jaren Jackson's are in some teams' eyes, and others, they may not view those players as highly, which is why they would trade down. To me, like the Chicago Bulls are very interesting as an option. There's been no indication that they are one of those teams, but you think on paper, the type of fit either DONCIC or Jaren Jackson would be alongside Lauri Markkanen as the centerpiece on that team. Think about the uncertainty with Chris Dunn, the type of ball handling DONCIC would provide, or the rim protection Jackson provides next to Markkanen. I think Chicago is a team that should at least think about moving up in the draft because of the fit next to Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, so give me another example of a team that might be nosing around to get up into those upper echelon picks to get a shot at a LUKA or a Jaren.
Well, the Knicks are interesting at the 9 spot right there. I've heard that they are really high on Kevin Knox out of Kentucky and then also Miles Bridges out of Michigan State. So if they stay there, one of those guys should be available. The question is, do you want to move down? Maybe you can get Kevin Knox at number 14, or you move up and you go after one of the other guys that they're hot for, like a Michael Porter type. The question is, do you have to go as high as 2 to do that? I don't know, which is why like Memphis at 4 is a little bit more interesting as a trade down candidate, or even at 5, even Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't know if you need to go as high as 2 to get a guy unless it's Jaren Jackson or LUKA DONCIC. If Porter's the target, it's the 4 to 5 range.
Is there going to be a guy that people are really high on that, you know, in retrospect, 9 months from now, everybody's going to be like, he was number 2 on our draft board. We couldn't believe how lucky we got, right? And could the Clippers 12-13 pick, are there guys at 12 and 13 who could be as valuable as the 3rd or 4th or even 2nd pick?
I mean, I really like SHAI Gilgeous-Alexander at that spot. I think he makes a lot of sense for the Bulls too, as a guy who can be a on-ball, off-ball, first, primary, secondary creator, guy who plays incredible defense. You pair him next to Chris Dunn, and that's a terror in the backcourt.
Not to go like off the rails here with SHAI Gilgeous-Alexander, but I have him ranked very highly too. I have him ranked number 10. I mean, like we all have him in the top 10, I believe, at the Ringer on the draft guide. But I've also questioned myself where it's like, he isn't a shot creator, and he's a point. That's what he's supposed to be as a point guard. So it's like, do I really feel good about drafting a guy who doesn't project as a primary creator with like the 10th or the 11th or the 12th pick over like a Kevin Knox, who I'm going to move up whenever we update the rankings, because it's like Kevin Knox to me, he's only 18 years old, 6'9", can handle, can shoot off the dribble. It's like maybe he's the guy that's being undervalued that ends up going a little lower than people expect, or perhaps higher than people expect, and that ends up exceeding expectations wherever he's slotted.
I want to talk a little bit about this unique Clipper situation of them having back-to-back picks. You were talking about this idea of like, oh, Memphis, they're not one guy away. So maybe they need bodies. Maybe they need to take a couple of risks here with some people who could have some potential, but they need volume. They don't just need one make-a-wish draft pick, right? Do you keep 12 and 13 and hope you get one great player out of that?
I mean, if I were them, I would still hold on to that pipe dream of being able to package those two, maybe add an extra asset, maybe a guy like Tobias Harris, and kind of move into, the middle of the lottery, whether it's 6 or 7, and try to get the guy that they really want. I believe that, Ballmer, being a Seattle guy, really does like Michael Porter Jr., and he does see that kind of star potential.
Loves him.
Yeah.
Really?
And so, why not?
Let's stay in Los Angeles. I want to know a little bit about what the Lakers are maybe going to do. You've heard a little bit about trading up. You've heard a little bit about adding a first-round pick. What's the deal here?
So the Lakers have the 25th pick right now, and there's some noise that they're trying to either trade up or add a pick somewhere in the back of the lottery, in the middle of the first round. And the guy it sounds like they really like is ZHAIRE Smith, a wing, super athletic, not much of a handle, but he is. I mean, would you agree, Danny? Like the best athlete in the draft.
He's the best athlete in the draft. I've compared it to a guy like hang gliding in the air. Like he is a phenomenal athlete, and he kind of played an interesting role at Texas Tech. 6'4", long arms, but he was actually kind of more of a power forward for the team than a guard.
Super intriguing in today's modern league with positionless basketball. Like you can put him in different areas and different roles, which if you're the Lakers, it's intriguing. But the weird part is if the Lakers are looking to add a pick in the middle of the first round.
What is that? What do they know about this summer? What does that tell you?
That means you're adding money, which makes it more difficult to add to create 2 max contract spaces unless you're dumping salary somewhere else in the form of Lonzo Ball or Brandon Ingram.
They also gotta dump Luol Deng if they want to get max.
Exactly.
So we talked a little bit about LeBron there, at least hinting at it. Let's talk about his quote-unquote current team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have the unique situation where they're in the NBA Finals, but they have a top 10 draft pick. Who are you hearing the Cavs are interested in?
So I've heard a couple of different things. It sounds like I would lean towards them keeping the pick at this point because you don't want to risk trading that and losing LeBron anyway. And if they do stay, it sounds like Colin Sexton, point guard from Alabama, and then Wendell Carter, a big man from Duke, are the 2 guys that they really like at that 8 spot if they keep the pick. And there's never any guarantees because like this draft night can be nuts. They could end up trading down, up, or out even. But Carter and Sexton are the 2 guys it sounds like they like a lot.
Do you think that we can divine any insight into what's going to happen with Cleveland this summer based on their interests in maybe a Sexton or a Carter? Or is this just like it's up to LeBron and he'll make his decision on July 8th and we will not know until then?
I think if you're Kobe Altman, you need to at least look at trading out of that pick because if you can package Kevin Love with the number 8 pick for insert superstar hair, CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard type, or somehow you get really creative and you get that CJ McCollum player for just the pick, then maybe you have Kevin Love as an asset to use elsewhere. You got to try to get creative in order to keep LeBron because he could end up thinking to himself, I'll stay 1 more year because this roster looks good enough. You don't know what he's going to be thinking.
It was just really interesting to hear LeBron after Game 3 talking about wanting to play with guys who had a much higher basketball IQ. And with no shots at any of the kids that are in this lottery, that's just not going to be rookies, right? Like he wants to play with guys who are on the Warriors level, at least in terms of thinking, if not necessarily talent ability. Is there anybody in this first round, though, that you think is like basically a basketball wizard in the making?
I mean, it's Luka Doncic.
Yeah, Luka.
He's been in consecutive ACB finals, consecutive EuroLeague Final Fours. The guy knows how to play with pros. The rate in which he's developed and improved, I think LeBron would fall in love playing with a guy like that.
And he's got a friggin' tiger tattoo. I don't really know.
He added another one to the other side too. Right here. Can't decipher what it is though from the photo.
Well, we'll figure it out. Maybe that's another video. For Kevin O'Connor, for Danny Chau, I'm Chris Ryan. This has been the latest in NBA trade rumors, gossip, and draft night intrigue presented by State Farm.